Life with diabetes can be challenging. It can be overly time-consuming and predictably unpredictable, but we come really far when it comes to devices and gizmos that can help make life with diabetes a little easier. Not easy, but easier. In this video, I'll be sharing 5 diabetes devices, tech, and gizmos that I find vital when it comes to making my life with diabetes easier. And of course, I'll also share how they help me. I'm Christelle from Diabetes Strong, and I've been living with type 1 diabetes since 1997. A lot has changed these last 26 years since my diagnosis. I mean, I've changed how I manage my diabetes, has changed how I view my diabetes, has maybe not changed, but it has definitely evolved. Today, I'm fairly hands-on when it comes to my diabetes management. I'm self-managed, meaning I have an endo who I love, but I adjust my own insulin doses on a daily basis without her input. And so that basically means I'm in the driver's seat and I'm driving with an A1C below 6%, so I'm happy. I'm not doing this alone or blindly. I'm doing this successfully because I have the diabetes devices, the tech, and the gizmos to help me be successful. And no, for me, that does not include an insulin pump. On my list of 5 diabetes devices, tech, and gizmos, I have 2 diabetes devices, I have 1 app, I have 1 wearable, and I have 1 diabetes gizmo. The gizmo is something I'm pretty sure you can't guess. It's a little bit of a dark horse, but it really makes a difference for me. So a hint here is that it's something that helps prevent low blood sugars. I'll keep you guessing for a little bit. And with that, let's start with my first diabetes device that I wouldn't be without. If you watched more of my videos or you followed me for a while, you probably know that I use the Dexcom CGM, a continuous glucose monitor, to help manage my blood sugars. A CGM is brilliant for a lot of reasons, but probably mostly because of its safety features. It will alert me before my blood sugars go too high or too low, which allows me to react before things get out of hand. But it also allows me a more comprehensive look at my diabetes than just doing finger sticks. So think about it like this. When you do a finger stick, you get your blood sugar here and now. It's kind of like in a vacuum. Whereas with the CGM, yes, I know my blood sugar here and now, but I also know where it was, where it's going, so I know how it's trending, which just allows me a more proactive approach to my diabetes management. And I'm a fairly loyal Dexcom CGM user because of the accuracy profile as well as the advanced settings. I find the adjustable alerts brilliant. With the Dexcom G7, I can completely silence all my alerts, I can set different alert schedules, and I can just adjust them to really work for me and my diabetes. And then there's the reporting. It's just a brilliant way to see if your management is working for you, even when you're sleeping or when you can't do finger sticks. But this is not meant to be a whole video just praising CGMs. I have other videos where I talk about CGMs, so let's move on. As mentioned earlier, I do not use an insulin pump. I use MDI, multiple daily injections, or said a little less medical, I do insulin injections using insulin pens. But my mealtime insulin pen isn't just any insulin pen. My insulin pen is a smart pen, and it's a durable smart pen called an InPen. This one. It has a battery life of a year, and whenever I used all the insulin in here, I just change the cartridge, but I keep the actual pen. Right now I have Humalog in here. Next year I'll have Novolog. It'll be a different pen though. And there's also a Fiasp option. But that it's durable or that it's a funky color isn't why I wouldn't be without it. It's because it's a smart insulin pen. This one connects with the InPen app, and it automatically, by Bluetooth, will send all my doses to the app, so it keeps track of when I've taken insulin, how much I've taken, and it also keeps track of active insulin on board. And not only that, it also has an insulin dosing calculator. So a little bit like an insulin pump. Actually, exactly like an insulin pump. All I have to do is type in my blood sugars and my carbs in the app, or only my blood sugars, or only my carbs, and it'll calculate how much insulin I need based on my personalized settings. No more math, and I don't have to be overly nervous about insulin stacking. Brilliant. So if you've used an insulin pump before, or if you're using one now, you might be realizing, hey, this, as I just mentioned, sounded a lot like an insulin pump. And it's a lot of the same functionalities. For me, it just works really well because I'm not hooked up to anything. I get a lot of functionalities of a pump. But with this little device, I can just, plop the pen in my purse whenever I head out. Another really helpful functionality is the reporting. Yeah, I know you just heard me talk about reporting when it came to my Dexcom, and here we go again. What's really brilliant is that you can link your Dexcom CGM or a Medtronic CGM if you have one of those, or you can just do finger sticks. And the reporting will visually show you the impact of your insulin doses on your blood sugars. Also, it will give you a visual of your nighttime blood sugars as well as a commentary that can help you assess whether or not you need to adjust your nighttime insulin. If you have a Medtronic CGM, you can see your blood sugar readings in real time in the InPen app. If you have a Dexcom CGM like I do, there is a few hours delay. Reason for that is that InPen is a Medtronic product and Medtronic doesn't play super well with others. And those were the 2 diabetes devices I wouldn't be without. And now on to the next thing. MyFitnessPal is basically a food database. I do not pay for the premium version. I just use the free version. And the reason why I think it's so brilliant and the reason why it's on my list of 5 things I wouldn't be without is that it's a great carb counting tool, both on the go and at home. If I'm in doubt, or even often if I'm not in doubt, I'll look up an ingredient or a meal in MyFitnessPal to get a more fact-based gauge on the amount of carbs that's in the food or the drinks that I'm about to enjoy. And that can help me really dial in the accuracy of my insulin dose calculations. There's been more than once where I've eyeballed the carb count for a meal, only to look it up and realize I wasn't even in the ballpark. And to dose insulin for significantly less carbs or more carbs than you're actually going to enjoy can be such a blood sugar nightmare. There are some things that you have to be mindful of though. Everyone can add to the MyFitnessPal database, so sometimes you'll see some really out there carb counts. What you want to do is you want to look for the MyFitnessPal verified entries. And you do that by simply looking for the little green check mark. And if you use MyFitnessPal a lot, it might be worth upgrading to the premium version. I'm just not willing to pay $80 a year for that. But if you do, you do get a lot more features, including the barcode scanner. So with the barcode scanner, you can use your phone and you can simply scan the barcode of whatever you're about to eat and it automatically looks up, the carb count. That used to be part of the free version of MyFitnessPal and I used to use it a lot. For me, it's just not worth $80. And then there's my Fitbit watch. I must admit, back when I got it, I did not consider it a diabetes device, but once I realized that I could get my Dexcom CGM data directly on my watch, my thinking switched, and I now consider this an essential part of my diabetes management. Sure, it also shows my heart rate, my step count, and a lot of other fitness-related metrics, but I care less about that these days. I got my first Fitbit Versa watch about 4 years ago, and that stopped working this summer, so I went out and got myself a Fitbit Versa 2. Not the newest version, but it doesn't have to be. You can also see your Dexcom blood sugar readings on an Apple Watch or on a Garmin, but for me, the Fitbit just seems like the most affordable option if you don't care about all the bells and the whistles of the 2 other watches. I do want to add that at this point in time, there's no direct to smartwatch solution. You still have to bring your phone with you. Dexcom is talking about a direct to smartwatch solution being in the pipeline for the Apple Watches. That's great. Once that's a reality, I might switch over to an Apple Watch. Until then, I'll just stick with my Fitbit. As I mentioned, I did not consider my watch as a diabetes device when I first got it, but after wearing it for plus 4 years, I realized how much of a difference it makes for me to have my blood sugars right here on my wrist. I don't have to dig through my bag to find my phone. I can just easily glance at my watch during meetings or at dinner. And same thing goes for exercise. Having my blood sugars right here, easily accessible, has made such a huge difference for me. When my old Fitbit stopped working this summer, it really hit me hard how much I rely on seeing my blood sugar readings right here on my wrist. And frankly, how much of an impact it has on my day-to-day diabetes management. If you're still with me, thank you. I hope you tried to guess what the last thing on my list of 5 things I wouldn't be without is. I think it's kind of a tough one. Okay, no more stalling. It's a tiny glucose tab gizmo called Tabs to Go. This little guy is the reason why I never leave my home without my emergency glucose. It's tiny, and the design of this means that it can easily fit into a back pocket or in a tiny purse. Sure, I could haul around a whole tube of glucose tabs, but the reality is I don't. This is all I need, and due to the design, there's really no reason why I wouldn't bring it with me. I have a few of these cases. I always have one in my whatever purse I'm currently carrying with me, as well as one in my Diabetes Go kit. And they're cheap. I'm not affiliated with the brand, so I do not have a discount code, but I'm not sure you need one. The most expensive option for these cases is $4. I think learning from each other when it comes to diabetes tech, diabetes devices, diabetes gizmos can be super helpful. And although I only included 5 things I wouldn't be without in this video, I have plenty of other diabetes product reviews here on my channel. So check out this playlist. Here I have some of my top reviews where I go over what I like, what works for me, what doesn't. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.